What's good, team? Right now, I'm bringing you guys another top 10 today. In today's top 10 video, I'm going to be going over the top 10 best draw cards that are currently legal in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, without further ado, let's begin. Starting off by saying, before I get to the actual list, I'm going to say every card on this list is pretty much generic and non-archetype based. Because obviously I can easily throw on cards like Pantheism of the Monarchs, Destiny Draw, etc, etc. But, so, in closing, I wanted to make this list with cards that a lot of you guys can use in your decks that have a lot of potential, that I believe have a lot of potential for the current format and formats and beyond. Starting off the list with number 10, Pot of the Comedy. Pot of the Comedy is a pretty good card, came out a few sets ago. Effect basically reads at the start of your main phase 1. You activate it and you target 3 different types in your graveyard, shuffle them to the deck and draw 2. Then you skip your battle phase. And I think you end your turn, don't quote me on that. But for the most part, you skip your battle phase. The card is pretty good because it recycles the deck, which is the reason why cards like Pot of Avarice got banned. And it's pretty much a watered down version of Pot of Avarice. So, you know, recycling cards and drawing 2, there's nothing better than a +1. So, all in all, with all that being said, it had to be on list number 10 because the card is okay in variety decks that run a lot of different types. Like, if Pendulum comes to the graveyard, that card would be pretty good because they can recycle the archetypes. And it was used a few times when Windups was making a comeback. But sadly, Windups are fucking dead now. Coming to this at number 9.5, One Day of Peace. Now, One Day of Peace is at 1 for a reason because the card at 3 was too fucking good. Basically says both players draw 1 card and you can't take damage for the on your opponent's next turn. It's an amazing stall card. It gave you enough time to draw to plus over your opponent because it put you kind of ahead of them by allowing to stall them out and giving you 1 extra turn to do something because it lets you draw that card and gave you the extra turn. But for the most part, the card is just very universal. You can use them in every deck, any deck you want to. Some of the cards like Upstart Goblin, but it had that benefit of stalling the opponent out. And it actually led a lot of people to YCS finishes. Like I believe it held Final Countdown at the top of YCS. And I also believed it was, I know it was used back in the that Dragon deck that tributed a lot back in the day. So with that being said, the card is really solid. It's still legal at 1. I think it could be used in certain decks right now, preferably like heroes and etc. But I'm going to do a hero discussion video in the future. So, like I said, that being said, had to have One Day of Peace on the list number 9. It's a really solid card in my personal opinion. Coming to list number 8, one of my personal favorites, Reckless Greed. Now, Reckless Greed is amazing because you draw 2 cards and you skip your next 2 draw phases. Now, the reason why Reckless Greed is amazing because yes, you skip your draw phase, but you draw 2 cards, allowing you to get that +1, even though you make up 4 by skipping your next turns. Now, the thing that makes Reckless Greed really good is because if you open up with 2 Reckless Greeds, or God forbid you open up 3 Reckless Greeds, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win to do it because if you open up whatever deck you're playing, double to 3 Reckless Greeds, and you activate them at the end of your opponent's turn, not only do you pretty much just skip 1 turn of missing your draws. You're going to get 6 fucking free cards. And then on the following turn after that, you're going to be allowed to fucking get your draws off. That's really fucking good because you're plussing like, what, +5, +4. And you're getting the benefit of 1 card. And you're just going to shift through your deck so much. And typically when people open up 2 to 3 Reckless Greeds, they usually win the duel. And Patrick Hoban actually brought Reckless Greed to light when he first started getting popular back in 2013 and 14. He was playing Mermaids at the time, and he ran 3 Upstart, 3 Reckless Greed, and people tested Reckless Greed out for a while, but Upstart was one of those cards that stayed, while Reckless Greed stood in the shadows. So, with all in all, that being said, Reckless Greed had to make it to number 8 because it's a really solid card, really good card, and it's still at fucking 3. Coming to this number 7, Dark World Dealings. Now, Dark World Dealings is really versatile because both players draw 1 card, discard 1 card. I mean, there's nothing more to be said. It's kind of a minus in a sense, but it's one of those cards that kind of lets you shift to your deck. More of a balanced version of cards like Graceful Charity from back in the day. Remember, Graceful Charity let you draw 3 cards and pitch 2. So, with that being said, nothing more you can really say about
Dark This is an overall solid card. It had to be on this list because it's still a shifting through your deck card. So Dark Odilion's a spell card, goes to your deck, and it is using OTK decks like Exodia. Coming to this at number 6, I have Gyro Avarice. Now, just like Pot of Avarice from back in the day, Gyro Avarice is pretty much a more balanced version of Pot, similar to Pot of Dick Comedy. But it kind of give you more of that Pot of Avarice roots. Trap card, basic effect that says target 5 cards instead of 5 monsters in your graveyard and shove all those 5 cards into your deck, and then you draw one. So it was actually pretty used in the beginning when it first came out to shuffle back to help the opposing player, or if you're using to cycle back to your deck, mainly using combo decks. I believe, damn, I can't think of the decks that use it right now. Pretty sure a lot of you guys could remind me of some of the decks that use it. But for the most part, it was a tech that was being ran here and there as a one-of just to recycle your resources, and it's still a solid card to this day in decks like let's just think of a deck, Dolces or whatever, or any deck that could just benefit from recycling cards like Monarchs and etc. So solid card. Had to be on this list at number 6 because this is overall good recyclability and you draw one card. Coming to this at number 5, I have Allure of Darkness. Now, like I said, I wasn't using archetype based cards, and I don't really consider Allure of Darkness an archetype based card because it's not. It says Dark Monster. So, simple effect, draw 2, banish 1. Similar to Graceful Charity, that's another version of balanced version of Graceful Charity because you have to banish a certain specific type of card to get its effect to draw 2, or you're just gonna fucking lose your whole hand. But for the most part, Allure of Darkness is a card that can be used in a multitude of decks like Burning Abyss. It can even be used in Monarchs and etc. It's currently sitting at 2 per deck right now. It's a solid draw card for decks that you feel like might need a little speed. So for that reason, I'll have to have it at number 5. Really good, really solid. Coming to this at number 4, I have Ignite Reload. Now, this is a card I recently just found out about today as I was making the research for this video. And it's pretty generic in the sense that it's mainly used for Pendulum decks and not just Ignite decks. So, any type of Pendulum deck can use it. Shuffle Pendulum card monsters into your deck. Draw the same line of cards plus 1. So, it replaces itself and allows you to fix your hands up, which is really good because if you have a shitty hand of all monsters and fucking that, you can just shift your deck and draw potential traps and etc. is going to help you win the duel. Now granted, some people like, if I have a handful of pendulums, I'd rather just pendulum something else, start my combos, which is good too. But if you have a pendulum deck that revolves around using traps, it's really good for those type of decks. And I can see it being used in the future for pendulum decks when pendulums are starting to be less orientated about this spamming the field and more orientated about doing trap interaction, etc. Kind of similar to Klee. This is at number 3. I had Upstart Goblin because why is fucking Upstart Goblin? I really don't care for the card. I never ran a card. I might run an that because a lot of Monarch players are running it and I'm trying to have the most consistent build of my deck. But for the most part, I gotta give respect where respect is due. Upstart Goblin made this list at number 3 because it's just a simple draw one card. It was limited to 1 for a reason, and giving your opponent 1,000 life points ain't shit. There's nothing much more to be said about Upstart Goblin. It is made this list at number 3 because it was very good, very powerful. Coming to this list at number 2, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are not going to get this one, but Maxi. Now, a lot of you guys are probably arguing, Chris, Maxi is not a fucking draw card, and I beg to differ because Maxi, it is a draw card that also helps you win the duel. If your opponent wants to try to go off on you, Maxi, and guess what? You're going to draw cards. If your opponent tries to just special summon on you and you have a fucked up hand, guess what? You can Maxi not knowing it's not the optimal time to use it, but still get that dead Maxi out of your hand to try to fix your hands. And also, Maxi is just an overall solid card. I mean, you can chump block with it when you don't need it in the late game. And this Maxi can just win you the game. So I feel like as a draw card, Maxi is amazing. Which is why I was on this list number 2. Almost every deck right now is running 3. Every deck right now should be running 3. No exceptions. Coming to this list at number 1, I have to have Card of Demise because Card of Demise is one of the cards that just came out and it's fucking amazing. You just drawing through up until you have 3 cards in your hand is a really good effect, very powerful, and it brings a lot of rogue decks back to life. Now that was my top 10 list, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cards if you guys would like to see on the list. So I'm gonna leave that for you guys to post in the comment section down below. So as I always tell you guys to do these videos, I truly believe in helping you guys become better players. And also do these videos, I truly believe in you guys helping me become a better player. Chris from Team Innovation signing out. Peace guys and stay innovative. Deuces. That no one has thought of yet. which in this type of era of Yu-Gi-Oh, with there's pendulums, monarchs, and etc., it's kind of rare if you're a competitive tournament player. So with that being